All right, here we go. Hello, and thank you for watching this program on modifiers. There's no audio taping or videotaping allowed, and any unauthorized reproduction, dispensing, forwarding, or copying of this target coding presentation is illegal. The information in this presentation is for educational purposes. It's not intended to be legal advice. Target coding does not engage in providing legal services. This presentation provides information in regard to the subject matter covered. Every attempt has been made to make certain the information in this presentation is 100% accurate. However, it's not guaranteed. A little bit about myself before we get going. My name is Dr. Marty Kotler. I'm the president of Target Coding. I'm a chiropractor. I'm also a certified professional compliance officer, a certified billing and coding specialist, and I take a little bit of an unconventional approach to compliance. You see, most chiropractors are not certified coders, and most certified coders are not chiropractors. So I take this unique approach to showing doctors how to maximize reimbursement and how to make sure they're using the right diagnosis codes. Being in the trenches allows me to do this. So some people call me the coding guy or the insurance guy. I'm not the insurance guy. To me, it doesn't matter if you're an all cash practice, all insurance practice. I just want to make sure you're complying with the laws, the rules, with your federal and state guidelines, and we want to make sure you're maximizing reimbursement through proper billing and coding, and we want to make sure you're not leaving money on the table. Our areas of expertise include CPT, ICD-10, HCPCS coding. I've written many training manuals on chiropractic billing, coding, and documentation, also for physical therapists and acupuncturists. I write articles to numerous publications throughout the country, and I'm a guest speaker at many state association conferences nationwide. Okay, so the AMA, the American Medical Association, they own the copyrights to the CPT codes. You've probably heard that before, but they also own the copyrights and are in charge of controlling the modifiers. So a modifier provides a way for you as the provider to indicate that a procedure or a service or something has been altered, something is different. It's changed so much that the 5-digit root code is not enough to describe what went on. So modifiers could be used for many different reasons: a professional component, a technical component. The procedure was performed more than once. Have you ever done this? It's happened to me a few times where a patient comes in the morning, they're in really bad shape. And I would tell the patient, you know what, Mr. Jones, I want you to go home, put some ice on it, come back later, after dinner, come back, and I want to treat you again. So you would adjust the patient twice on the same day. Well, there's a modifier. It's modifier 76, second visit on the same day. Other reasons: a part of the procedure was performed, service was increased or reduced, a bilateral procedure was performed, many different situations. So let's go through the most common, because there are tons of modifiers. We only have about 15-20 minutes together here, so I'm going to go through the ones that are most commonly used. First one here is modifier 25, significant, separately identifiable evaluation and management service, an E&M service. So if you're going to perform an E&M service, and it gets to the point where it's above and beyond the usual service that you're about to perform on the patient, then you would use modifier 25. Most common example: established patient E&M code 99213, 25. If you build 99213 without the 25 and you also did a chiropractic manipulation on the same day, there's a good chance the carrier would bundle the re-exam and just pay you for the adjustment. 59, very common. So right off the bat, those two are the most common modifiers in chiropractic. Modifier 25 and 59 are the ones that cause the most confusion. So let's talk about 59. Distinct procedural service. Under certain circumstances, it may be necessary to indicate that a procedure or service was distinct and independent from other non-E&M services. So that's when you would use modifier 59. One of the most common situations in chiropractic is you perform a chiropractic adjustment, let's say on the cervical region, and the patient also needs some soft tissue work on the lumbar region, and you decide, well, I'm not going to do a chiropractic adjustment on the lumbar region. That area just needs some deep soft tissue work. Manual therapy, 97140, myofascial release, soft tissue mobilization, something like that. And you do that on the lumbar region. Well, if you submit the claim without the 5.9, the 97140 would probably get bundled with the adjustment. So the 5.9 is one of those rare modifiers that bypass the CCI edit. So you would use the 5.9 modifier, and you would use a separate diagnosis. And that's one of the classic ways to get paid for a service using modifier 5.9. Now, I mentioned the CCI edits. The National Correct Coding Initiative edits. Oh boy, this causes problems because it bundles certain codes. So these CCI edits require that manual therapy, also massage and neuromuscular, be performed in a separate region. Wow, that's annoying. That's not logical. I'm sure most of you listening to this agree with me that, hey, this just doesn't make sense, but I don't make the rules, I just explain them. So if you're going to do those three services in a separate anatomic site, then you would use the 5.9 modifier. Now again, the 5.9 modifier has been misused. A recent OIG report, well, not that recent, it was, I don't know, it was about 7-8 years ago, it said that modifier 59 was used incorrectly nearly 40% of the time, resulting in about $50 million in overpayments. So it's a frequent target of audits. And it's one of those rare modifiers that bypass the CCI edits. Now, because of all the confusion, CMS created these 4 subsets of modifier 59. They're called the XESPU modifiers, with XS being the most closely to be able to substitute the 5.9 in a chiropractic setting. XS, separate structure, performed on different structures. But I tell you, the 25 and the 59 is becoming a big issue in many parts of the country, especially in the Midwest and Illinois. Wow, been working with so many doctors in Illinois and New Jersey. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield in New Jersey really makes a big deal about these 25 and 59 modifiers, putting doctors on prepayment audits, which we're going to discuss in a few minutes. So yeah, there's a few states around the country where this has become a big issue. So why are my claims getting denied when I use 25 and 59? It's this new coding auditing enhancement software that's causing all the problems. So my recommendation is keep resubmitting, keep appealing. If these health plans are flooded with appeals, they may revisit this erroneous edit. Next, modifier 26, professional component. So an example could be a patient brings in films. Let's say they bring in their x-rays of their neck, taken somewhere else, and you want to spend time reviewing these films, marking them up, going over them with the patient, and you want to bill for it. Well, there's a modifier, 26. I think you're better off using the counseling and coordination care code when going over x-rays or lab work or MRIs or nutritional consultation. But 26, I get questions on this, so I just wanted to clarify. That's the professional component. 51, yes, this modifier seems to pop up as being an issue every once in a while, so 5.1. It's multiple procedures. So many, many years ago, when chiropractors would bill for a spinal manipulation and an extremity manipulation, there's the extremity manipulation code there, 98943. So when the provider would bill both the spinal and extremity, health plans were bundling the extremity with the spinal adjustment. Again, it made no sense. So a few of our state associations got involved and were complaining to health plans. So the solution was, well, we'll just put the 5.1 modifier on 98943. And it worked. And most plans now pay for a separate and distinct extremity adjustment. Now, some want the 5.1, And some have said, we don't want the 5-1 anymore. So when multiple procedures other than E&M services, rehab services, or supplies by the same individual list the additional 5-1 modifier. Now, Medicare has modifiers specific to Medicare, so let's go over those. But first, let me give you a quick Medicare Q&A. Ready? Can you treat Medicare patients without being enrolled in the Medicare program? The answer is absolutely not. So don't be in the middle. If you're a chiropractor, I call in the middle, where you're saying, well, I don't have a Medicare number. I don't think I have a Medicare number. I haven't billed Medicare in ages. I don't want to bill Medicare. But when Medicare patients come in, I treat them and they just pay me cash. I have them sign the ABN form. That's okay, right? No, no, no. Can you opt out of Medicare as a chiropractor? No. Can you collect cash from Medicare patients without billing Medicare? Yes, if the patient gets to wellness maintenance and you present them with the ABN form and they check option 2. Beautiful, there you go. Now you have a cash-paying Medicare patient. So this usually gets people asking questions. I don't understand. I thought we could opt out. Listen, it's right here. If you want to do a little bit more research, if you don't feel comfortable with my recommendation, which is do not treat Medicare patients unless you are formally enrolled. I'll say it again. Do not treat Medicare patients unless you are formally enrolled in the Medicare program and you're billing Medicare for the spinal manipulation. It's a law. It's required. So this usually causes some confusion. So I like to point out sources. So chiropractors cannot opt out. There's the source, Medicare Benefit Policy Manual. Now, yeah, I mentioned that there are some chiropractors that say, well, I don't bill Medicare. I don't want to deal with Medicare. I have the patients come in. They just sign an ABN form and they pay me cash. Multiple problems with that. One of the problems is Medicare says if you're not enrolled in the Medicare program, you as the provider, you're not allowed to use an ABN form. See, the ABN form is property of Medicare. Medicare says if you're not enrolled in the Medicare program, you're not allowed to use Medicare forms. Again, this is surprising to many offices. When I do my live seminars, I get a lot of people raising their hands. So just go to the Medicare Claims Processing Manual and you'll see. Chiropractors not enrolled in Medicare cannot issue ABNs. And yeah, here's another item about, this is right from Medicare. It says doctors of chiropractic may not opt out of Medicare, noting that opting out and being non-par are not the same things. Chiropractors may decide to be par or non-par, but they may not opt out. Okay, back to the Medicare modifiers. AT, the most common one, stands for active treatment. Those two little letters, AT, it tells Medicare a lot of information. It tells Medicare that you understand the Medicare guidelines. It's active treatment. You're doing the part exam. You're doing a lot of things. The patient has pain, discomfort. You're treating the patient with a goal to improve functional improvement. Wow, all of that just with the AT modifier? Yes. Modifier GA, well, GA tells Medicare that you have a signed ABN form on file. But why would you have an ABN form signed by the patient, right? That's could be a question you have. So the ABN form is used when a covered service, like spinal manipulation, is expected to be denied due to lack of medical necessity. That's where you would use an ABN. Patient signs the ABN and they check yes to option 1, which means bill Medicare even though they're probably not gonna pay. So there you go, 98940GA, and then we have GY. This is used for all non-payable services like exams, x-rays, therapies. And then GP, modifier GP, has come back into the picture. Many years ago, we were using it, then we stopped. It wasn't necessary. Everything was going fine until this year. And now GP has come back into the picture. But what is the GP modifier? GP modifier means service delivered by a physical therapist. You're a chiropractor. You're not a physical therapist. Why do I need to use this modifier? Well, if you don't use it, the claims won't get processed properly. So you're forced to use something that doesn't even make sense. So your Medicare claims for modalities and therapeutic procedures getting processed incorrectly. modalities and procedures provided by chiropractors, although not covered, should be submitted with GP and GY. If the patient has a secondary plan, that'll pick it up. If the patient doesn't have a secondary plan, no need to bill for the exams, x-rays, and therapies unless you just want to for denial purposes. But if you don't submit with the appropriate modifier, the claim will get rejected, and then the financial liability transfers from the patient to the provider. The EOB will say, patient may not be billed. You don't want that, because the patient is paying you. You want to be able to keep the money. So this is how it would look on a typical claim: GP, GY with the electrical stim and the manual therapy. There's room for up to 4 modifiers in the modifiers box in box 24D. TC, technical component. Okay, earlier I mentioned professional component. Now we have technical component. So if you just take the films, you don't do the professional component, that's TC. So x-rays, for example, can be broken into 2 components: professional component and technical component. MRIs could be broken down into 2 components. Now, if you take the x-rays in your practice and you write up a report, then you bill the global fee without the modifiers. Next, modifier RT, right side, for example, orthotics. I recommend foot levelers orthotics. I think they're the best orthotics in the industry. Foot levelers gives for many reasons, but one reason is they give back to the profession more than any other company I know has ever done. So I love foot levelers, great people. So L3020 is a foot insert HCPCS code. So some carriers want you to designate right side, RT, versus left side, LT. Next, modifier RR, that's for a rental. So E0720, that's a 2-lead TENS machine. E0730 is a 4-lead TENS machine. So some health plans will say, we want the patient to go through a 1-month trial period, the rental period, and maybe some carriers do 2 months. So you would use the RR. And then once you go through the trial period or the rental stage, then you can bill a new TENS device with the NU modifier. Next, modifier Q6. Gotten a few questions on this recently. So this is a service furnished by a locum tenens provider. So if you are going on vacation for a week, or let's say you were playing tennis and you broke your ankle and you're out of the practice for a couple of weeks and you want to hire a doctor to cover your practice without getting the doctor going through the whole credentialing thing, right? Medicare allows even non-credentialed providers to fill in. All the services would go out with the Q6 modifier on it. Example 9920325 Q6. Now, a little bit, I mentioned prepayment audits. So a little bit about this because I'm seeing a dramatic increase recently from coast to coast. I have docs in New York all the way to California sending me these prepayment audit letters that they're getting from insurance companies, mostly Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and United Healthcare. And it causes confusion. When you're on a prepayment audit, now your staff has to spend hours making copies of notes, sending it in. And now payment can be delayed for 3-4 months when you're normally getting paid in a couple of weeks. Now payment could be delayed 3 to 4 months. The doctors I'm working with right now in a prepayment audit, they may, send in a batch of, 30 claims, and some are getting paid, some aren't getting paid. You have patients that have 5 visits, 3 are getting paid, 2 aren't getting paid. For the same notes, it causes cash flow issues, chaos. The reasons why they'll say we're not paying is because lack of medical necessity. You're not showing that the patient is showing improvement, missing signatures, little things. So don't wait for the dashboard oil light to flash. Get out of the car, lift open the hood, and check the oil. Get proactive, which leads me to my 9-step action plan. So step 1, get proactive. Don't wait for something to happen. Don't wait for the oil light to flash. Step 2, get all new patient forms signed, completed. Make sure your staff, after the patient fills out the forms, does a quick review of the forms to make sure they're filled out completely and signed. If you're billing 98941 and the patient's form says, I have neck pain, that's it, already we have a problem. Step 3, doctors, before you walk into the room, review all the new patient paperwork prior to doing the history. Got to get all these forms out of the way. There's a lot of patient forms. New patient history questionnaire, review of systems, financial policy, authorizations. If it's a PI case, lien, letter of protection. A child, you should have a consent to treat minor. Patient can't afford the care, you might need to use hardship forms. How about patients, you're in network with a plan and you want to perform a service that's not covered in the plan. You should have an acknowledgement form for non-covered services. ABN forms, outcome measurement forms. So do a forms check in your practice. Make sure all your forms are up to date. And then we have HIPAA forms, that new patient HIPAA notice, very important. We have one we can give you if you want. Just send an email to amy@targetcoding.com and she could send you our HIPAA notice. Authorization to release information. Yeah, patient comes in and says, hey, doc, I'm moving to Texas. Can you send my records to the chiropractor I found in Texas? Make sure you have a proper official authorization to release information. That scenario is different than if a patient says, hey, I had an MRI about 3 months ago. Can you get the MRI from the imaging center? That's a different type of authorization to release information. And patients could request that you don't bill their insurance. That's restriction of PHI. You want to have a patient give you a testimonial so you can put it on your Facebook page, Instagram, website, have them sign a testimonial and consent release. So have good forms. This is our HIPAA form. Next, step 4, review the policies from the insurance companies that you bill. If you're billing, Cigna for therapeutic activities, what's their position on it? You're going to bill United Healthcare for neuromuscular reeducation. What do they say? Check it out. Find out what their policies say. Step 5, understand the what and the why. Your CPT codes are the what, and your diagnosis codes are the why. And they must match. They must pair. For example, you'll get audited if 97110 therapeutic exercises is being billed, but the patient doesn't display any type of deficit. They don't have any range of motion deficit, strength deficit. You have normal range of motion. You're not going to get paid for 97110. So the policies, here's Aetna's policy on chiropractic. Very important. You should know they want to see improvement within 2 weeks of care. If you don't show improvement within 2 weeks of care, they can start denying payment. And they have a list of things they consider not payable. And here's, the way to pair your codes. So this is 97110 therapeutic exercises, which provides you with the clinical rationale. It's used to develop strength, endurance, range of motion. There's that acronym SERF, S-E-R-F, strength, endurance, range of motion, flexibility, how the exercises are performed, what diagnosis codes pair with therapeutic exercises. It's like pairing, food and wine. And here's a way to justify your diagnosis codes. For example, you're going to diagnose a patient with cervical radiculopathy. Do some Jackson, compression, Valsalva, check some reflexes. These are the things that you could get questioned on, especially if you're in a malpractice case, you're dealing with a managed care organization and they're questioning you, hey, Dr. Kotler, how did you come up with, sciatica? If you say, well, the patient had pain down the leg, that's not going to work. You're going to lose the case. With sciatica, straight leg raise camps, you do a couple of ortho neuro tests. So it's a good, this is an excerpt out of a page of this book, which is a book I strongly recommend, endorse. It's a book on the best CPT and ICD-10 codes to improve reimbursement. Step 6, do a self-test on your SOAP notes. Make sure you know what a medically necessary SOAP note looks like per insurance company. Yeah. So Medicare has different SOAP note requirements than Cigna. Cigna is different than Aetna. Aetna is different than Blue Cross Blue Shield. So please make sure that you do a self-test on your notes. Again, lift open the hood and start doing a review of your notes. Actually, with Medicare, they require it every 6 months. Or strongly recommend it, let's say. When Medicare strongly recommends something, you basically should be doing it. If Medicare strongly recommends something and you don't do it, don't you think that could cause an issue? So Medicare strongly recommends being proactive and doing an internal review of your notes every 6 months. Step 7, attend seminars and webinars on a regular basis. Always keep learning. Be a sponge. I give you guys a lot of credit listening to this webinar. There's probably a lot of other things you'd rather be doing than listening to me. Give you credit. Be a sponge. Always keep learning how to improve your business and help more patients. Step 8, put together a simple billing policy manual that explains what you do. For example, you adjust full spine, but you only bill 98940. That's weird. That could be considered downcoding. Many plans go, why? Why would you adjust the ankle if the patient's main complaint is headaches? Explain what you do. If you're an upper cervical practitioner and you adjust only C1 or C2 and the patient has low back pain and the insurance company asks you for your notes, you should have a policy so you could explain that relationship. Otherwise, it looks unusual. Step 9, conduct regular meetings with your staff members. Make sure that you are looking at the plans that you build them. I call it the 35% rule. If you're collecting more than 35% of your income from one health plan, do a deep dive into that health plan. Otherwise, you could have a dramatic decrease in income quickly. I have an example to share with you. I have a client in Arizona. His practice is right next to a building with 300 people. AT&T has 300 employees in this one building. They all have Cigna. My client has been treating these patients for a while. 80% of his practice are these AT&T employees. I've been telling him for years, diversify. It's not a good idea to have all your eggs in one basket. Didn't listen. 80% of his practice are these AT&T employees. Guess what? He recently got a letter. He's on an audit. They want to see information. They want to see proof that he's collecting the copays, deductibles. They want to see notes. They put a block on the claims. Overnight, 80% of his income has been put on hold. Conduct regular staff meetings. Do a spot check on your billing company if you use one. 2 cases just came in recently where doctors are being audited. The doctor didn't even know the billing company was adding modifiers, adding services. It's a nightmare because the insurance company doesn't go after the billing company. They make the doctor responsible. So do spot checks on your billing company if you use one, just in case you get that knock on the door. Do this so you could SWAN. That's one of my favorite acronyms, SWAN. See that on the screen, SWAN. That means sleep well at night. So, just a few closing comments. Please check with all the plans you bill prior to submitting claims. Here's my contact information. You could email me directly, drkotler@targetcoding.com. There's our website, phone number. We are on all social media platforms. Just like I tell my clients, you want new patients? Get on social media. I have clients getting more new patients off of social media than ever before. So at Target Coding, we are on all social media platforms. Target Coding's business has grown tremendously because of social media. Your practice can grow too. We're on all platforms. I have a staff person. That's all she does. About 15 hours to 20 hours a week is social media. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Check out our YouTube channel. If you like this webinar and you want to hear it again or share it with other staff members or other practices, this is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel so you could watch it again. So besides these webinars, we do seminars, we sell videos, we do on-site consulting, we do audits, we sell forms, letters, templates, we incorporate HIPAA programs and Medicare compliance programs. This is our Smart Choice program. Again, there's that acronym. Do you SWAN? Do you sleep well at night? This is for doctors that say, Marty, I just want you to check me out. Open up the hood, check out my CPT codes, check out my fees, check out my notes, check out my forms, do a review of my practice. This takes a couple of months. This is not a membership. It just takes a couple of months for me to review what you're doing, go over it with you. It's called our Smart Choice program. You may be interested in learning about that. And we have our chiropractic, Medicare, and HIPAA forms, logs, and templates. It's $199, and you get about over 75 forms, letters of medical necessity. We break it down into admin, new patient forms, financial forms, exam and treatment plans, sample soap notes, letters of medical necessity, sample appeals, and then we'll throw in some physical therapy and acupuncture forms, a whole bunch of Medicare forms, and then 23 HIPAA forms. So if you're interested in this, just go to the website. And then we also, we always get a question, who do you recommend for billing, Dr. Kotler? Some people think Target Coding is a billing company. We're not a billing company. We recommend ACOM Health for chiropractic insurance billing. So check them out. Ask them about their special exclusive opportunity where you get $1,000 value. You get a free analysis, a free fee analysis by us here at Target Coding. And this is the book I was recommending earlier that gives you these little cheat sheets and these the diagnosis codes to justify the clinical findings, or the clinical findings to justify the diagnosis. Yeah, it's got a section on FAQs. Like, I get this question, Dr. Kotler, what's the difference between a disc disorder and a disc displacement? What's the difference between radiculitis, radiculopathy, and myelopathy? How about cervical brachial and cervical radiculitis? Simple stuff. What's the difference between myalgia, myositis, myofasciitis? You could be in practice 1 year. You can be in practice 30 years. You might not know, but you might be curious. What's the difference between effusion, swelling, and edema? We have a whole FAQ section. And these are some excerpts from the book. We have videos. We offer, as I mentioned, compliance manuals, simple billing and coding compliance manuals that we customize for your practice with policies and procedures. We do them for acupuncturists, physical therapists, chiropractors, Medicare practices, non-Medicare practices. So if you see Medicare patients, we'll put together a Medicare OIG compliance manual for you. It's simple. It's not complicated. It just takes a couple of hours to go through and implement. It's only about, about 50 or 60 pages. It's not overwhelming. Now, HIPAA is overwhelming. HIPAA is very comprehensive. That's why it costs more, but you get a lot more. If you're shopping around for a HIPAA program, compare ours to others. I'm not saying ours is better. Ours is just more comprehensive. Listen, is a Mercedes better than a Honda? You decide. We sell Mercedes. Hondas are wonderful cars. We don't sell Hondas. We sell Mercedes. Our program is different. Our program is more expensive because you get a lot more. So just shop around if you're looking for a HIPAA compliance program. We have memberships, basic, bronze, silver. This is our basic membership. It's $99 a month. You pay as you go. And we're doing a seminar coming up. We're doing a physical therapy webinar, acupuncture webinar. So again, I want to thank everyone for attending. Here's our contact information. Dr. Kotler at targetcoding.com, website targetcoding.com, telephone number 1-800-270-7044. Our HIPAA secure fax number is 1-844-831-2347. I want to thank everybody for attending. I hope you learned